hopefully now, you understand how necessary rebellion has been throughout history. However, if you are still not convinced, I do have authoritative source number 3 to back me up. So wise Thomas Jefferson once said, "A little rebellion now and then is a good thing. It is a medicine necessary for sound health of government. God forbid that we should ever go 20 years without such a rebellion." Now hopefully we are to the point where you are thinking, so what does this have to do with me? After all, this is a very good question. What possibly could Americans have to rebel about today? I mean, we have lived in prosperity for 50 years and not even once have had an evil dictator ruling our government. Not too much to complain about. Then why is it the case that 38 years ago, 4 Kent State students were shot while protesting a war they believed to be unjust? Or why did the hippies suddenly appear thinking they needed to change American culture? And finally, why doesn't Green Day want to be an American idiot? The only thing these long-haired hippies, punk rock bands, and protesters all have in common is they each perceived some grave injustice or problem. Hippies thought themselves to be rebelling against a war-loving, oppressive, wealth-obsessed culture. Now, maybe the case of these hippies went about fighting for their peace in the completely wrong way. But just maybe, they also had a point to make, similar to Bob Marley, myself, and my socks. Maybe all the excessive protesting and long hair actually brought to light some glaring problems within American culture that dearly needed to be noticed. Maybe those who died at Kent State started some serious discussion about whether America should still be losing troops in Vietnam. And sadly, I still do not know what's bothering Green Day so much. Now, I'm not saying that all these rebellions were done properly, or even for the right cause. However, I am saying that the rebellions, like the rebellions of the past, they are essential to pushing history forward. And of course, things are no different here at Providence. The spirit of rebellion can easily be seen here, even if it is masked behind the uniforms and smiling faces of its students and faculty. The first example that comes to mind is a student who dared to push the boundaries and boldly go where no student has gone before. The student I refer to is Derek Brown. And I'm referring to what you may know as the roof incident. The story goes that Derek, exercising his senior free room right, decided that he would like to be on the roof and acted accordingly. Derek was quickly reprimanded for this and punished rather harshly. And I'm sure quite a few faculty were irritated with Derek for this. But what did the roof incident teach us? Has anyone gone on the roof since? I believe that by going on the roof, Derek helped bring about a new unwritten rule that makes it clear to students for years to come that they are not allowed to be on the roof. Maybe you have heard of the incident involving Michael Offerman's George Foreman grill. I was present at this incident, and present at this incident can therefore give you a very good first-hand account. Michael had been annoyed with the fact that our school does not serve meat on Fridays for years. I know Michael's family has always allowed the eating of meat on Fridays, so it makes sense that he was annoyed that at school he had different rules pressed upon him. All this built up until one day he had had enough and brought in raw burgers and a grill and proceeded to make lunch for his table. Delicious, by the way, Michael. Again, this rebel was reprimanded and punished. Now, this rebellion may have been too recent to have run its course, but maybe it will bring about discussions on just why Providence has chosen not to serve meat on Fridays. And it will either bring about change, or will bring about a better understanding of why it is the case. Now, these last two rebellions might not be exactly what I needed to make my case about rebellion being a good thing at Providence, but I believe this last one will make up for them both. If you were at the 10th grade spring dance, you will remember this. The week before this dance, Michael George's father had been scheduled for very dangerous heart surgery. Michael at the time was most likely uninterested in being at a dance, or even if he was interested, did not have turning in a permission slip at the forefront of his mind. But by the time the dance came around, Michael's father had a successful surgery, which of course meant that it was time to party for more. However, when he arrived at Providence, he was barred entrance. It turns out there are very few exceptions for people who do not turn in their permission slips to a dance. When the students began to hear that Michael and his sister were stuck upstairs, there was some considerable outrage. In fact, the majority of the dance floor marched upstairs to bring the party to Michael and his sister. These students were reprimanded and told to go downstairs. However, most of them did not listen. They stayed and danced with Michael until a call was made that allowed Michael to finally exercise his right to dance. Rebels who brought the party to Michael accomplished much more than they risked in not listening to a faculty. They ensured a fun night for a pair of siblings who had had a rough group, and at the same time demonstrated what it is to be a good friend. In that moment of rebellion, they raised the importance of Michael's happiness above their own, which I believe is what John Rose called selflessness. Now, I want to make it clear that I'm not asking faculty to stop punishing people who break the rules. In fact, do not ever hesitate to do so. What I am trying to say is that such rebellion should not be dismissed as just the overreactions of uppity high school students, and they may in fact have a real point to their actions. If our class had not pushed the envelope so hard on senior privileges, the punishments that go along with them will most likely still be unclear and, to quote Michael Offman, inherently flawed. So, what do I have to ask of you, my senior? So, what I have to ask of you, my senior class, is that you do not stop pushing the envelope when you enter college. Do not let arguments about the origins of life go on one-sided, even if you'll be the only one on your side. Do not let a fear of stirring the pot stop you from practicing any kind of faith or any virtue or any value you have acquired here at Providence. Oh, and definitely do not forget to stick to the man whenever possible.
Stood by is dismissed.